Welcome to the Exploring New England podcast with Ryan Zipp, where each week I will be talking about what makes this historic region such an amazing place to enjoy. From the scenic views to road trip ideas to where to grab the best eats and much more. Let's get going. Hello everyone, and welcome to episode 18 of the Exploring New England podcast with me, Ryan Zipp. We are now basically 1 full month into summer here in New England. I guess depending on when you count it actually being summer. I guess officially, June 21st, so not quite a month, but some people feel like it starts after Memorial Day. So give or take, we're a solid month in. Feels like we're a month into this heat wave we've been having, even though I know it hasn't been that long yet, but it's been a bit rough. I don't mind summer temps usually, and don't mind the typical kind of heat spells of 3, 4, maybe even 5 days or so. But I've kind of had enough with this at this point, and feel like it's just been hard to escape for weeks on end, no matter where I head, even out in the middle of the ocean or a number of coastal spots. It's still been rough with this humidity. As I'm recording this, we have some kind of storms coming through the state here in Connecticut, and few weather people have said that it might finally break the humidity and heat wave, so hoping they're correct and we could have some more normal summer weather for a little bit before the next streak. This past weekend I was over in Rhode Island for a few nights, and it was a little different than my usual photo adventures. Most of those these days are solo, and a lot of them obviously focus on a number of photographic, missions, different scenes to get, running around, and just trying to fit as much in as possible. But this time around, this was a kind of a family trip, so a little more low key, spending some time with them, and it was definitely nice, to kind of not feel the need to run around like a madman and, pressure to get any kind of certain shots. Obviously did have my camera with me. Took a few photos, not a ton overall, but again, that's not what this trip was about. Some of the family ended up grabbing a beach house down in the Matunic area, South Kingston. Really nice spot. Few beaches over there. Good beach for surfing. My brother-in-law and niece both are surfers, so we did catch up to watch them surf one afternoon. But they had a great spot there. Then there was going to be some other family coming and going throughout the week. I ended up grabbing a beautiful Airbnb house in North Kingston, so about 20-25 minutes away from where they were, and stayed there with my mom and stepdad. So it was nice to get away and be with the fam. We had typically done coastal Maine for a number of summers for the last handful of years, but this year changed it up a little bit. So the North Kingston ended up being a really nice spot and kind of home base for a lot of close towns and areas. You're like 5 minutes or less next door to the historic Wickford Village. Really nice. Couple rows of streets, shops, restaurants. Grabbed coffee there one morning. Number of really nice older historic homes there. There was an art festival going on this past weekend as well, so there was a lot of action in a few areas around town. You're also 15 or so or a little more to anywhere in Narragansett, depending on what spots. So you're close to all that, but you're staying a little more low-key area. You are 20 minutes basically from Newport, depending on traffic. And only a half hour if you keep heading through Narragansett down to Point Judith, and where you could take the ferry to Block Island from. And then 30-35 minutes north of there is Providence. So I thought it was a really great spot. I've been through that area, never stayed there. But if you're looking for a little more of like a low key area to stay, but yet still be near the coast, and not be right in Newport or right in Narragansett, you know, stay there, and then you have access close by, 5 to 20 or 30 minutes to a lot of great towns and you know, areas, ferries, basically anything you want to do, beaches. Um, so we got there Saturday night. We kind of all met up with everybody after settling in. We ate at a spot in Narragansett called the Coastal Cabin Restaurant. Really cool vibe. We had one of the later seatings. Everybody's food was really good. Everybody was happy and liked the vibe in there. So if you're looking for a spot to check out to eat while you're in the area, Coastal Cabin, and that kind of got the trip going on Saturday night. Sunday morning, we got up and I saw this coffee shop I'd never been to called Lighthouse Coffee Roasters and Cafe, and that was right in North Kingston, so not far from the house. Got the patented iced mocha latte, and they had this breakfast sandwich on a bagel. It was like a Asiago bagel, but it had hot honey on it, so it's like an egg and cheese bacon with that. So very tasty. Cool vibe in there. Number of great looking desserts. So again, another coffee shop in the area if you're looking for a spot to grab some fuel if you're going through there. That day I was kind of ended up being a bit of a tour guide, which was fun. But I took my mom and stepdad around. They had never been really spent any time in Jamestown. They had been in Newport before a number of times over the years. So, you know, it was Sunday. I wanted to hold off Newport till Monday, so be a little less crazy. So I figured Jamestown would be a good kind of little Sunday, midday, early afternoon trip. So I just took them all around. Basically, it's kind of like what I do when I'm on my own, even or with whoever. If you know we're looking to just enjoy some time cruising and sightseeing that way, especially with how hot it was, you know, these days. And I pull up Google Maps or whatever you use and kind of just look for as many coastal roads as I can take that are, you know, obviously public roads and just where you can drive on and see the water from. So I always, if I'm just looking to kind of, you know, make a route for the day, and I'm not in a rush to get from point A to point B, that's typically what I do. So, made us a nice route around Jamestown, showed them some different spots. Then, you know, took them down to the lighthouse there. And you know, they had never been there as well. So, and the wind was pretty, you know, the breeze was nice there. So felt a little better than definitely better than being back home in Connecticut. You know, it was like 5 or 6 degrees warmer and, you know, you weren't getting the ocean breeze. So timing worked out. You know, I wish it wasn't so hot, but it was a good time to be, you know, as close to the ocean and coast as possible. Like I hope some of you guys were able to do during this stretch. Yeah, so basically, you know, spent that middle part of the day taking them all around Jamestown, and they loved it. You know, I told my mom a story about how James Taylor, who she loves, has a house there somewhere. I don't know the exact spot, but I think he filled in. I think it was the Folk Fest last year. Someone canceled last minute, so I heard he had like taken a boat right from near his house in Jamestown over to Newport to kind of perform acoustic, which is pretty badass. I've, you know, seen him a couple times now. So, but yeah, she liked the fact that, you know, he has a place in that area, and beautiful spot, obviously, like much of, you know, coastal Rhode Island is. So, you know, after we did that, we looped back down and we met up with the rest of the family in Matunic, a little beach spot over there, and got to watch them surf a bit. I took some photos of them. It's kind of fun to have of, you know, my brother-in-law and my niece surfing together. So definitely great for them to have. I don't often shoot humans in my photos or any kind of portrait type shots, but stuff like that is always fun to capture and obviously rewarding for them. Then on Monday is when I had planned to, I thought it'd be better to take them to Newport because it'd be less crazy than Sunday. So after getting going in the morning, we headed over the bridge into Newport, where I had been twice in the week previously. For the Fourth of July fireworks, and then for the mansions, the hydrangeas, and what I'd hoped for, the Jamestown fireworks, but the fog and weather had other plans. So so 3 times to Newport in kind of like 10 days, but don't mind at all. Love visiting there any time of year, but especially in the summer, there's not much more kind of New England summer vibe spot than that. So we had a great time. They had been, a number of times over the years, but it had been a while, so it was fun for them to kind of see some spots they had loved going to, and then also I kind of showed them some new ones. Kind of took them over through over the town border into Middletown, the beaches there, out to Sashulis, the National Wildlife Refuge. That's a great spot if you've never been. It's refuge there, so it's free as parking, and then there's a whole walking path trail basically going around the alongside the water there, so you have ocean views and a couple other paths cutting through, but just to go walk, enjoy the scenery. It's great for birds, wildlife. In the winter, I've gone there often over the years for snowy owls. One year even had barn owls there. There's always a resident red-tailed hawk. A lot of deer going through, so a very cool spot. So it was, again, because of the weather, and we didn't want to take time in the heat to kind of walk it, but so just did a loop and drove up and down the road past the beaches there. They were still packed, even though for a Monday. Sunday, I'd seen some people posting, and the lots were filled early on, and just traffic was insane. So obviously, if you can go weekdays to a lot of these places during the summer, that helps. So, but if you can't, you make do and do the best you can with it. But after that, I looped us back around, and we wanted to walk a little bit on the cliff walk. So we ended up heading down, found a parking spot near Salve over there. And the elephants I talked about last week, the display I saw over at the Breakers, one of the mansions there on the back property. There was a few other spots around town, the Friends Meeting House, Rough Point, and then spots behind Salve Regina, the college there. So we were able to check that out. It's actually right in the same area behind Macaulay Hall, I think how you pronounce it. But that's the spot that has the great daffodil field in April that I shoot almost every year. And they have a number of these elephants there as well, with display and information about them. And again, it's like a art display through someone with the city. And the project itself is to promote like animal-human kind of coexistence. And they were made by people over in southern India using like an invasive plant. And again, it was, like I said last week, it's kind of like a bamboo type plant, but pretty intricate, amazing what they were able to do and make these, and large elephants and then little babies and young ones. And they have a name for each one there. And I believe what we were reading is you could actually purchase them. And the money goes to, this cause. No idea what they go for or where you would put this giant elephant. You obviously have to have a big enough yard for it, but there's more online if you look it up. The Great Elephant Migration, I believe it was called. I don't have the note in front of me, but if you look it up for Newport, you'll find all the info, I'm sure. I believe that's till like early September, so you have the whole summer. But I had checked them out at the Breakers, so it was cool to see him in another spot, walk up to him again, and whereas that you have to pay for a ticket to get on the property there, and the other mansions obviously get inside. Whereas this, it's just free, and you could just walk right from the cliff walk area, and the streets that run down to the water there. So it was cool to see them. The parents loved checking that out, obviously. Then after that, just kind of rooted more some more coastal driving, so that Ocean Ave, Ocean Drive, blanket if it's Ave or Drive there, but took them down there for some great views. Looping back over to where Castle Hill is, where I had lunch last week. But we stopped, pulled over at Breton Point there. Spot. They have a lot of parking. It's where the big kite sales spot is, where you could buy obviously kites, and a lot of people flying them there. A couple food trucks, and other reason for stopping is my stepdad had never had a Dell's frozen lemonade, so I told him, hot day. We were there for the summer. We had to get one, so pulled over and grabbed a few of those for us. So, but these gnats were like intense there, and like just obviously attacking us, and got back in the car after a few minutes. They were like on the outside of the windows. It was something out of like one of those, like an X-Files episode or something weird, and trying to get in. So even with a breeze, we had those and didn't stay too long. But again, was kind of just on cruising mode, showing them around to new and old spots for them. At that point, it was like we were ready for a little bit later lunch, so headed down to more of like the downtown area, down by the wharf there, where all the restaurants and bars and shops are. So found some parking, and I had never tried it, always heard good things, and just had never had time, to pop in. But we ended up going over to Wally's Wieners right there on Thames for lunch. And my mom hasn't had an actual hot dog in 30 plus years, whatever she said. But I still was reading the menu because my stepdad loves hot dogs. So I was like, well, we got to go, and trying to figure out what she could have. And they actually have plant-based hot dogs. So was able to find, they have 15 plus different hot dogs with all these crazy, unique, out of the box toppings. And they had one that, I thought she would like, and she was down to try it. And my stepdad and I upgraded to these quarter-pound all beef hot dogs. They were really good. I got this, it was I forget the name of it, but it was basically like a Mexican street corn type relish, and just kind of had that vibe. We got some crab fries for the table, basically just fries with Old Bay seasoning and a cheese sauce. But yeah, it was cool up in there. We sat up on the top level, like a bar up there, just the vibe had this old kind of wallpaper. It was like a velvet wraparound booth in one corner. But yeah, it was really neat. I wasn't drinking, I was driving that day. So, but they have a huge espresso martini menu, and all these different flavors for them. And then they have, I don't know how big they were, I didn't see or what it was, but they have a giant espresso martini, giant margarita to share. It was 40, 50, 60 bucks for these options. And again, I have no idea how many that would take care of, drinking. It did say minimum 2, which made me laugh because they obviously don't want just one person sitting there and ordering a $60 giant espresso martini. I can't imagine what kind of shape you'd be in if you tried to tackle that yourself. So, but yeah, so Wally's Wieners finally made it over, and I think today, when I'm recording this, Wednesday, is National Hot Dog Day. So I guess it's a fitting time to get there for the week. Then we met up with the other family again, end of day, and then unfortunately Tuesday morning I had to leave from there and come back and open my shop. That's my Monday for the store, because we're open Tuesday to Saturday. So fit a lot in again. Visit. It was great to be with the family and show them around to some spots that I enjoy going throughout the year. So definitely never going to complain about getting to coastal Rhode Island as many times as possible during the summer. It definitely has a vibe, and I recommend, you guys, if you've never been, to get over there. If it's something you haven't done in years, this might be the motivation to make it happen, whether you try to stay overnight. I know a lot of hotels can be pricey, especially on the weekend. This time of year, if you can ever pull, middle of the week, obviously you'll get better deals, but also, just pack a cooler for Sunday, and you could do it as cheaply as you want. You could pack everything, and there's spots like Breton Point there, down at Beavertail, the lighthouse in Jamestown. There's a number of spots that you could literally just enjoy the views and bring all your own food and beverage. Obviously, a number of great coffee shops, restaurants, bars along the way. You could do a full-on day trip and go out to lunch, go out to dinner. So a lot of options there. Obviously, Newport, everyone knows about. Jamestown has some other great spots. Narragansett there. Matunuck's, a little bit smaller, has the Ocean Mist there, the bar restaurant on the water. North Kingston, where we were, Wickford, kind of, charming little village there, coastal village. So right in that spot, all close drives. There's a lot of great towns and a lot of things to do. And this summer, I always recommend getting as many of those vibes in as possible. So that was the recap portion, I guess. So not my usual, but it was a great weekend away, and always good to spend time with family. This coming weekend, it's lining up with the full moon that's going to be rising. So every month, if you follow me, you know that I kind of try to get to a different new location every month. We typically have, the night before it's truly full when it's like 99.2 or 90. This week, Saturday night is 99.6. It's basically rising right around sunset, a few minutes after sunset, I think, no matter where you are. So this is the one, whether you're just viewing or you're a photographer, where if you really want to get the scene around it, foreground, whatever, this is the one where you want to get the moon rising, because you're going to have a lot more ambient light still and, a lot more even exposure there. You can get some really good one single exposure shots because you still have enough light to balance it out. So that's one I like doing, especially if I want the scene in it. So I'll be heading somewhere, not quite sure, possibly southern Maine, trying to figure out. Obviously, I always have to watch the weather. Then Sunday is the day when it actually is full. And Sunday night, it'll be rising roughly 45 minutes after sunset. So the scene around it, that you're looking at will be darker than the night before. Still be some light left. It's not going to be like pitch black. But I have a spot in mind in Mid-Coast, Maine, a little further up, Rockland area. So I'll be heading up there. But an app, if you're a photographer or just into this stuff, it's called Photo Pills. It's kind of become my trusty source for setting up and researching spots that are going to work for this. I think there's a charge. I don't think it's any more than $10, but if you're a photographer, I definitely recommend it. It's worth it. Just a lot of resources for, moon phases, sunrise, sunset, locations. And basically, it'll show you where you need to stand to view the sun setting, the sun rising, moon setting, moon rising, and you could plan out a lot of your shots with that. So definitely recommend grabbing that. Photo Pills is the name of it. And that's what I use every month in planning what spots are going to work, because every month it shifts the angles and you have to get in a totally different spot. And, a lot of times use a telephoto lens that's how people get that look of the moon looking gigantic behind an object, because it could be 1.5 miles, 2.5, 3 miles, 4 miles plus out there. So a telephoto lens with a compression makes the moon look, gigantic as it's just coming up over the water, the horizon, wherever you're shooting. It's smaller as it gets further up. So as always, that's where I'll be kind of hopefully, the ultimate would be to get it both nights, but if I can come out with one of two success, then I consider that amazing. Many times, many months I've been shut out and 0 for 2, but that's just the way it goes and just makes you want it that much more next time. So we got the full moon coming this weekend. Obviously, I'll, update you guys next week to how I did with some visuals, and follow me on Instagram. You'll probably see beforehand. Other thing kind of starting now, and the next couple weeks we'll be starting is, as the hydrangeas are fading, even though they still looked amazing in a lot of spots in Rhode Island. So I could see some were starting to fade, but I don't know when we'll have a year as good as that again with the hydrangeas. Hope you guys were able to enjoy it, and hopefully next year is, even close to being as good as this year, and I'll be chasing them around again. But the next one are sunflowers, and one of my favorite fields anywhere in New England, is in my home state of Connecticut. It's kind of up in the middle of nowhere, in the eastern part of the state, going towards Rhode Island and town of Griswold. But it's called Buttonwood Farm, and they've been doing it for a number of years. It's called Sunflowers for Wishes, I believe that's the name of it. And there's one field area there. You pay to go in and cut them down, and all the proceeds get donated to. I believe it's Make-A-Wish. I don't know why I'm blanking, but I know it's for a good cause like that, and they've been doing that for many years, and just thousands and thousands and thousands of sunflowers. There's a few different fields there. I haven't been there yet this year, saw a post from someone. They were starting to bloom, looked nice already in like kind of the main field that you can walk through, and go around. There's like a little hillside you can go up and look down at it. First time I went there was in 2013, not long after I got back into photography with my first DSLR. And one of my photos I got that day is still one of my best sellers to this day, and it's with my Rebel T3i. So I always tell people don't overthink gear, because that's as basic, DSLR as possible. Even the starter ones now are much better off than that one there. And a handful of images I got with that camera have been some of my best sellers to this day. So it's always about the light, the composition, the person behind the camera. So better gear does help and lets you shoot things that you just can't with other cameras or lenses. But the gear now, everything is so good these days. There's there's no excuse to say that you don't have the right gear for it. So if anyone ever has questions on gear, feel free to hit me up if I can help in any way. I would love to. But that field right now, I looked at some years past, the field that you can kind of walk through, the part there. That one I have photos from like July 21st to 23rd with it kind of peak bloom. So that one seems to peak a little bit earlier than the larger field across the road the sun sets behind. That one I've been anywhere from July 27th to the 31st. I know every year stuff can be like a little different, just throwing out dates where I've been before. So starting July 21st, and like I said, now there's already, a number of them blooming there. But I don't know if their Facebook or website might have some updates. So, look up Buttonwood Farm. They also have some great ice cream there. Usually a long line, especially if you go on a weekend. So be prepared to wait if you do want some of the ice cream there. Another one that's starting up soon, my buddy Jack from Boston and I met up and checked out, both of us for the first time last year, is Copple House Farm. That's in Lee, New Hampshire, a little more southern New Hampshire. And we went to the opening morning, the sunrise slot. You have to get tickets ahead of time. And this year I checked the dates. It's starting July 27th, going to August 4th. So again, go to their site, Copple House Farm. They'll have all the details, see what you need to do as far as time slots, days, cost of tickets, like a gift shop area there. But really nice field as well. I actually didn't really edit many from that, so I have to edit a few, maybe put a reel together to share soon, next couple of weeks, as we shift to some little sunflower love from the hydrangeas. So I'll have some more info next week on some of these, a little more on those sunflower spots, and if I've checked any out yet or what my plans are there, I'll share with you guys like always. So I think that's it for this week. Hope you guys are having a great start to summer, and can't believe we're already a little more than halfway through July. So don't wait if there's any things you have to check off your summer bucket list in New England this year. I'll try to come up with some more ideas and keep giving you guys some inspiration of where to go, what to do, and ways that you can enjoy it as well, like me. So thank you guys again for all the support throughout this. Can't believe we're already 18 weeks in. It's wild start in March, and we're already later July. Pretty soon we'll be planning and talking fall, which is nuts, which I love, but I don't want to wish away summer. Summer and fall in New England are the best, and especially the end of summer for me, September and October is nothing better. So excited to share more with you guys coming up, and thanks for joining in again. I will see you guys next week.